A crowded shopping mall, the sound of children's laughter echoing through the corridors, and a mother who had no idea that 15 seconds of quick thinking would transform 3 lives forever. Maya Rodriguez was just trying to buy her daughter's birthday present with the last $23 in her wallet when she heard the scream that would change everything. What she didn't know was that the little boy choking on a piece of candy belonged to Dr. James Harrison, the billionaire who owned half the hospitals in the state, and that her knowledge of CPR, learned during sleepless nights in nursing school, she could never afford to finish, would open doors she never dreamed existed. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're subscribed because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. Maya Rodriguez had been awake since 4:30 that morning. Not by choice, but because the upstairs neighbors' music had been thumping through their paper-thin ceiling again. She lay in the narrow twin bed she shared with her 8-year-old daughter Sophia, listening to the bass vibrate through their cramped studio apartment, and calculated how many hours until her double shift at the diner would end. 14 hours. 14 long hours of serving coffee to truckers, dodging wandering hands, and forcing smiles that felt like sandpaper against her exhausted soul. The alarm clock's red digits glowed 4:47 a.m. when she finally gave up on sleep and padded quietly to their makeshift kitchen, really just a hot plate, mini fridge, and sink crammed into the corner of their single room. Sophia was still sleeping, her dark curls splayed across the pillow that Maya had sewn from fabric scraps she'd found at the thrift store. Her daughter's breathing was peaceful, steady, completely unaware that today was supposed to be special. Today was Sophia's 9th birthday. Maya opened the shoebox where she kept their emergency money, 3 crumpled $20 bills, 2 5s, and a handful of coins that probably added up to another $3. $68 total. She'd been saving for 3 months, setting aside every spare quarter, every tip that wasn't immediately needed for rent or groceries. It wasn't much, but it was enough for the art set Sophia had been admiring in the toy store window for weeks. Coffee maker, a second-hand machine that only worked if you held the filter basket just right, gurgled to life as Maya mentally planned their day. Work until 3. Pick up Sophia from Mrs. Chun's apartment downstairs. Then the bus ride to Westfield Mall. Sophia thought they were just going grocery shopping, but Maya had secretly arranged with her supervisor to leave an hour early. The art set would be Sophia's surprise, her one real birthday present. The morning shift at Mickey's Diner dragged by with unusual slowness. Maya refilled coffee cups on autopilot, her mind wandering to the excitement she'd see in Sophia's eyes when she opened that art set. 64 colored pencils, 3 sketchbooks, and a wooden case that looked almost professional. Sophia had natural talent, the kind that made Maya's chest tight with pride and worry in equal measure. Talent like that deserved nurturing, deserved opportunities Maya couldn't provide. Table 6 wants their eggs over easy, not scrambled, barked Chuck, the day manager, sliding another plate across the kitchen window. And try to look like you want to be here, Rodriguez. The customers can smell desperation. Maya bit back the response that burned in her throat. Chuck had been making snide comments all week, ever since she'd asked for the afternoon off. She couldn't afford to lose this job, not when they were already 2 weeks behind on rent and the landlord was making threats about eviction. So she smiled, took the plate, and delivered it to table 6 with the kind of cheerful efficiency that had kept her employed for 2 years. The lunch rush brought its usual chaos, impatient customers, complex orders, and the persistent ache in her feet that reminded her that the shoes she wore to work were developing holes in both soles. But Maya pushed through, counting down the minutes until 2:30, when she could finally clock out and start Sophia's birthday celebration. Mrs. Chun was waiting in the lobby when Maya burst through the apartment building's front door at 3:15. Slightly out of breath from running the 6 blocks from the bus stop, Sophia sat on the floor beside their elderly neighbor, carefully coloring in a picture book with crayons worn down to nubs. "Mama!" Sophia jumped up, her face lighting up with the kind of pure joy that made every difficult moment worth it. "Mrs. Chun taught me how to draw cats. Look." The drawing was remarkable for an 8-year-old, now 9. Maya reminded herself, with careful attention to proportions and shading that suggested real artistic instinct. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Are you ready for our shopping trip?" Sophia nodded enthusiastically, completely unaware that this wasn't just another grocery run. Maya had managed to keep the birthday surprise secret for 3 weeks. No small feat when you lived in a single room with someone who had inherited her mother's curiosity and determination. The bus ride to Westfield Mall took 45 minutes, and Sophia chattered the entire way about her art project at school, a book she'd been reading, and her plans for the summer. Maya listened with half her attention while mentally reviewing their route through the mall. Toy store first. Then perhaps they could afford ice cream if she was careful with the remaining money. Westfield Mall was busier than usual for a Tuesday afternoon. Families with strollers navigated around clusters of teenagers, and the food court buzzed with conversation and the clatter of trays. Maya held Sophia's hand firmly as they walked past stores that might as well have been museums for all the relevance they had to their lives. Designer clothing, expensive jewelry, electronics. That cost more than Maya made in a month. The toy store sat at the far end of the mall, its bright colors and elaborate window displays drawing children like magnets. Sophia pressed her nose against the glass, pointing out various treasures with the same enthusiasm she'd shown every previous visit. "Can we go in?" Sophia asked, though she already knew the answer. They looked, but they never bought anything here. "Actually," Maya said, unable to suppress her smile any longer, "I think we can do more than look today." Sophia's eyes widened. "Really? But Mama, we don't have money for toys." "Sometimes," Maya said, leading her daughter into the store, "special days call for special surprises." The art set was exactly where Maya remembered it, displayed on a shelf at Sophia's eye level. The wooden case gleamed under the store's bright lights, and Sophia gasped when she realized what her mother was suggesting. The art set? The real one? With all the colored pencils? Maya nodded, her throat tight with emotion. "Happy birthday, sweetheart." Sophia threw her arms around Maya's waist, squeezing so hard that Maya nearly lost her balance. Other shoppers moved around them, probably wondering why a little girl was crying in the middle of a toy store. But Maya didn't care. This moment, Sophia's pure happiness, the knowledge that she'd managed to give her daughter something wonderful, was worth every extra shift, every skipped meal, every sleepless night. They made their way to the checkout counter, Sophia clutching the art set like a treasure. The total came to $62.37. Leaving Maya with exactly $5.63. Enough for ice cream if they shared a small cone. The teenage cashier, whose name tag read Brandon, handled the transaction with practiced indifference until he noticed Sophia's obvious excitement. "Special occasion?" he asked, his tone warming. "Slightly. It's my birthday," Sophia announced proudly. "I'm 9 today." "9's a good age," Brandon replied with a genuine smile. "My little sister just turned 9 last month. You're going to create some amazing art with this set." As they left the store, Sophia immediately wanted to find a place to open her new art supplies. The mall's central seating area seemed perfect, circular benches around a decorative fountain where families often gathered. Maya chose a spot with a good view of the surrounding shops, partly for entertainment and partly out of habit. Growing up in neighborhoods where awareness of your surroundings wasn't optional had left her with instincts that never fully relaxed. Sophia carefully opened the wooden case, her fingers tracing each colored pencil with reverence. "Look, Mama, there's copper and crimson and cerulean blue. I don't even know what cerulean means, but it's the most beautiful word ever." Maya settled beside her daughter, allowing herself a rare moment of complete contentment. They had so little, but watching Sophia's face as she arranged her new art supplies made Maya feel rich in the ways that actually mattered. The afternoon sunlight streaming through the mall's skylights caught the highlights in Sophia's dark hair, and Maya made a mental note to remember this moment exactly as it was. The sounds of the mall continued around them, conversations, footsteps, the distant hum of machinery that kept the building running. Somewhere nearby, a child was laughing, the high, delighted sound that suggested pure joy. Maya smiled, thinking that Sophia would probably be making similar sounds once she started drawing with her new pencils. But then the laughter stopped abruptly, replaced by something else entirely. A woman's voice, high and panicked, calling for help. Maya's head snapped up, her nurse training kicking in before her conscious mind fully processed what was happening. Someone help. Please, somebody help us. The voice was coming from the food court, maybe 30 yards away. Maya could see a small crowd beginning to form, people craning their necks to see what was wrong. Her instincts screamed at her to investigate, but Sophia was here, surrounded by her new art supplies, completely absorbed in her birthday surprise. "Mama?" Sophia looked up, sensing the change in her mother's attention. "What's wrong?" Maya hesitated for exactly 2 seconds. Then she heard another sound that made the decision for her. A man's voice, desperate and afraid, shouting words that sent ice through her veins. "He's not breathing. Oh God, he's not breathing." Maya was on her feet before she made a conscious decision to move. "Sophia, stay right here with your art set. Don't move from this spot, okay? I'll be right back." "But Mama." "Stay here," Maya repeated firmly, already moving toward the food court. "I promise I'll be right back." She pushed through the growing crowd, her heart pounding as she recognized the signs of a medical emergency. In the center of the circle of onlookers, a man in expensive suit knelt beside a small boy who couldn't have been more than 6 years old. The child's lips were turning blue, his eyes wide with terror as he clawed at his throat. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Choking, Maya's nursing school training kicked in completely, overriding every other thought. She dropped to her knees beside the man and the child, her hands already moving to assess the situation. "I'm trained in CPR," she said quickly to the man. "What happened?" "He was eating candy," the man said, his voice breaking. "Those hard butterscotch pieces." He started coughing and then his words dissolved into panic as he watched his son struggle for air. Maya could see the child was still conscious but fading fast. She positioned herself behind him, her arms wrapping around his small torso just below his ribcage. "What's his name?" "Tyler," the man gasped. "His name is Tyler." "Okay, Tyler," Maya said, her voice calm and reassuring despite the adrenaline coursing through her system. "I'm going to help you, sweetie. This might feel weird, but it's going to make you feel better." She delivered the first abdominal thrust, firm but carefully controlled for a child his size. Nothing. Tyler's eyes were starting to lose focus, his struggles becoming weaker. Maya repositioned and tried again, putting slightly more pressure. Behind the movement, still nothing. The crowd around them had grown larger, voices murmuring anxiously, but Maya blocked them out completely. There was only Tyler, only the next few seconds that would determine whether this child lived or died. Third thrust. She felt something shift, and Tyler suddenly coughed violently, expelling the piece of candy onto the floor. He gasped, drawing in a shaky breath, then another. Color began returning to his lips. The crowd erupted in applause and relieved murmurs, but Maya barely heard them. She was focused entirely on Tyler, monitoring his breathing, checking his pulse, making sure the crisis had truly passed. The little boy was crying now, reaching for his father, and Maya helped guide him into the man's arms. "Is he okay?" The father asked, his voice still shaking as he held Tyler close. Should we call an ambulance? Maya studied Tyler carefully. His breathing was normal now, his color good. He seems fine, but you should definitely have him checked by a doctor, just to be safe. Sometimes there can be irritation to the throat, or small pieces left behind. The man nodded, tears streaming down his face as he held his son. Thank you, he whispered. I don't know what would have happened if you hadn't been here. I don't know how to thank you. No thanks needed, Maya said, standing up and brushing off her knees. I'm just glad he's okay. She was already turning to leave, to get back to Sophia and their interrupted birthday celebration, when the man called after her. Wait, please. I'm Dr. James Harrison. I own Harrison Medical Center downtown. You saved my son's life. The least I can do is, but Maya was already walking away, her mind entirely focused on getting back to Sophia. She'd done what anyone with her training would have done. Tyler was safe, breathing normally, crying healthy tears in his father's arms. That was what mattered. She had no idea that Dr. James Harrison was not just any doctor, but the billionaire owner of the largest hospital network in the state. She had no idea that he was watching her walk away with a mixture of gratitude and amazement that someone could save his child's life and simply disappear without asking for anything in return. All Maya knew was that Sophia was waiting for her with a new art set, and the afternoon was still young. There would be time for ice cream, for drawing, for celebrating her daughter's 9th birthday properly. She had no idea that everything was about to change. Maya returned to find Sophia exactly where she'd left her, carefully arranging colored pencils in rainbow order across the wooden case. Her daughter looked up with concern when she noticed her mother's flushed face and slightly disheveled appearance. Mama, you look scared. What happened over there? Maya sat down heavily beside Sophia, her hands still trembling slightly from the adrenaline. A little boy was choking, sweetheart, but he's okay now. Sophia's eyes widened with the kind of empathy that always made Maya proud. Did you help him? I did what I could, Maya said simply, not wanting to elaborate on the medical details. Sophia had seen enough emergencies in their neighborhood to understand that sometimes adults had to help each other. Can we draw him a get-well picture? Sophia asked, already reaching for her new pencils. Maybe with a rainbow? Rainbows always make people feel better. Maya's heart swelled. Even on her own birthday, Sophia's first instinct was to help someone else. That's a beautiful idea, baby. Let's make it the most colorful rainbow ever. As Sophia began sketching, Maya found herself glancing back toward the food court. The crowd had dispersed, and she could see Dr. Harrison sitting with Tyler at one of the tables, the little boy sipping what looked like water while his father spoke quietly on his phone. Probably calling Tyler's mother, Maya thought, or arranging for that medical checkup she'd recommended. She was grateful they both seemed calm now. There was something about the man's demeanor that suggested he was accustomed to handling crises, though the terror in his eyes when Tyler couldn't breathe had been completely genuine. No amount of professional composure could mask a parent's fear for their child. Mama, does cerulean blue go before or after regular blue in the rainbow? Sophia asked, interrupting Maya's thoughts. I think cerulean can go wherever you think it. Looks prettiest, Maya replied, refocusing on her daughter. It's your rainbow, sweetheart. Sophia nodded seriously and continued her work. She had inherited Maya's attention to detail, carefully considering each color choice before making her mark on the paper. The rainbow was taking shape beautifully, bold strokes that showed confidence. Despite her young age, Maya pulled out her phone to check the time, 4:30. They could stay at the mall for maybe another hour before they needed to catch the bus home. Sophia would want to show Mrs. Chun her new art supplies, and Maya still needed to figure out something special for dinner that wouldn't completely drain their remaining $5. Excuse me? Maya looked up to find a woman in her 30s approaching their bench. She was elegantly dressed in a way that suggested money, but not ostentation. A cashmere sweater, well-tailored jeans, expensive-looking boots. Her blonde hair was perfectly styled, and she carried herself with the confident posture of someone who'd never had to worry about rent money. "I'm sorry to bother you," the woman continued, "but I think you might have helped my friend's son a few minutes ago." The little boy who was choking? Maya felt a flush of discomfort. She'd hoped to avoid any follow-up to the incident. "He seemed fine when I left. Is everything okay?" "Oh yes, Tyler's perfect. James, Dr. Harrison, is just being cautious and having him checked out, but he wanted me to find you." The woman smiled warmly. "I'm Rebecca Morrison, by the way. James's business partner." Sophia looked up from her drawing, curious about the elegant stranger. Rebecca noticed the art supplies immediately, her expression shifting to one of genuine interest. "What beautiful work." "Are you an artist?" Sophia beamed. "It's my birthday today. Mama bought me this whole art set. Look, it has 64 different colored pencils." 64, Rebecca exclaimed with appropriate amazement. "That's incredible. What are you drawing?" "A rainbow for the boy who was choking," Sophia explained seriously. "Rainbows help people feel better." Rebecca's expression softened. "That's very thoughtful. I'm sure he'll love it." She turned back to Maya. "James really would like to thank you properly. He was wondering if you might join us for coffee. Tyler's feeling much better, and he'd like to meet the person who helped him." Maya shook her head politely. "That's very kind, but not necessary. I'm just glad he's okay." "Please," Rebecca insisted gently. "James doesn't often get to meet people who help without expecting anything in return. It would mean a lot to him. And Tyler's been asking about the nice lady who helped him breathe again." Sophia tugged on Maya's sleeve. "Can we go, Mama? I want to give Tyler his rainbow." Maya hesitated. Every instinct told her to politely decline and stick to their original plan. People like Dr. Harrison, successful, wealthy, important, lived in a different world from hers. Their interaction at the food court had been circumstantial, a moment of crisis that temporarily erased social boundaries. Now that the emergency was over, those boundaries would reassert themselves. But Sophia was looking at her with hopeful eyes, clutching her rainbow drawing, and Maya realized she couldn't disappoint her daughter twice in one day. First by almost missing her birthday surprise, and now by refusing to let her deliver a get-well picture to a child who needed one. "Just for a few minutes," Maya said finally. "We need to catch the bus home soon." Rebecca's smile was genuinely warm. "Of course. They're just over by the fountain near the bookstore." As they gathered Sophia's art supplies, Maya felt a familiar knot of anxiety in her stomach. Social situations with people outside her economic circle always left her feeling exposed, hyper-aware of her second-hand clothes, and the careful way she had to budget every word and gesture. But Sophia was practically bouncing with excitement, eager to share her artwork, and Maya couldn't bring herself to dampen that enthusiasm. The walk to the fountain took only a minute, but Maya used the time to observe Dr. Harrison more carefully. Without the panic of the medical emergency, she could see he was probably in his early 40s, with graying temples and the kind of calm authority that suggested extensive experience in high-pressure situations. Tyler sat beside him, looking perfectly normal except for a slight hoarseness in his voice when he spoke. "Tyler," Dr. Harrison said as they approached, "this is the lady who helped you feel better, and this must be her daughter." Tyler looked up at Maya with wide, curious eyes. "Thank you for helping me breathe," he said solemnly. "Daddy says you saved my life." Sophia stepped forward before Maya could respond, holding out her rainbow drawing. "I made this for you. Rainbows help people feel better." Tyler examined the picture carefully, his face lighting up. "It's beautiful. Look, Daddy, she used so many colors. Is this cerulean blue?" Sophia gasped with delight. You know about cerulean blue too. I love art, Tyler explained. Daddy says when I'm older, I can take real art classes. Dr. Harrison caught Maya's eye and gestured to the empty chairs around the fountain. Please sit. Can I get you anything? Coffee? Something for Sophia? Maya shook her head, but Sophia piped up immediately. We were going to share ice cream for my birthday, but Mama says we should save our money. An uncomfortable silence fell over the group. Maya felt her cheeks burn with embarrassment. She should have prepared Sophia better. Explained that you don't mention financial constraints to strangers, especially wealthy strangers who probably thought $5 was pocket change. But Dr. Harrison's expression showed no judgment, only understanding. It's your birthday? Well, that changes everything. Tyler, what do you think about celebrating Sophia's birthday with some ice cream? Tyler clapped his hands together. Yes, and she can tell me about all her colored pencils. Before Maya could. Object, Rebecca was already standing. I'll go get ice cream for everyone. What's your favorite flavor, Sophia? Strawberry, Sophia said shyly, then added more boldly. But vanilla is good too, or chocolate. Really, anything is perfect. As Rebecca headed toward the food court, Dr. Harrison turned to Maya. I hope you don't mind the impromptu celebration. Tyler's been wanting to do something nice for you, and when he heard it was Sophia's birthday, he shrugged with a slight smile. It seemed like perfect timing. Maya found herself relaxing slightly despite her reservations. He doesn't need to do anything. I'm just glad he's feeling better. The doctor at the urgent care clinic said you handled the situation perfectly, Dr. Harrison said. Are you in the medical field? Maya hesitated. The truth felt complicated. 2 years of nursing school before financial reality forced her to drop out. Medical knowledge that felt both rusty and insufficient. Dreams that had been carefully boxed away to focus on immediate survival. I had some training, she said carefully. Nothing formal. Tyler had moved closer to Sophia, fascinated by her art supplies. Can you teach me how to draw rainbows like yours? Sure, Sophia said enthusiastically. First you need to know the order. Roy G. Biv. That's how you remember. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. As the children settled into an impromptu art lesson, Dr. Harrison lowered his voice. I meant what I said earlier about wanting to thank you properly. What you did today. Most people would have hesitated, called for help, waited for someone else to take charge. You just acted. Maya shifted uncomfortably. Anyone would have done the same thing. No, Dr. Harrison said quietly, watching Tyler carefully trace Sophia's rainbow technique. They really wouldn't have. And I should know. Rebecca returned with a tray of ice cream cups, interrupting the conversation before Maya could ask what he meant by that last comment. As they distributed the treats, Maya caught herself studying the group dynamics. Rebecca treated Dr. Harrison with professional familiarity but obvious respect. Tyler was clearly comfortable with both adults, suggesting they were regular parts of his life. And Dr. Harrison himself seemed genuinely interested in Sophia's chatter about art techniques and color theory, asking thoughtful questions that made her beam with pride. It was, Maya realized, the most relaxed she'd felt in months. No clock to watch, no customers to please, no bills to worry about, just ice cream and children's laughter and the unexpected kindness of strangers. But even as she allowed herself to enjoy the moment, a part of her remained wary. In her experience, generosity from wealthy people often came with hidden expectations or unstated conditions. She'd learned to be grateful but cautious, to accept help when Sophia needed it, but never to assume it would continue. Dr. Harrison seemed to sense her reservation. I know this is unusual, he said quietly while the children compared drawing techniques. But I hope you'll consider staying in touch. Tyler doesn't make friends easily, and Sophia seems to have a gift for bringing out his confidence. Maya glanced at her daughter, who was patiently explaining shading techniques to a rapt Tyler. Sophia had always been good with other children, but there was something special about watching her teach someone who clearly shared her passion for art. They do seem to connect well, Maya admitted. Tyler's been struggling since we moved here 6 months ago, Dr. Harrison continued. New city, new school, and his mother ... He paused, seeming to choose his words carefully. She's not in the picture anymore. It's been an adjustment. Maya felt a familiar pang of recognition. Single parenthood in a new place, trying to rebuild stability while managing a child's emotional needs. She knew that territory well. It's hard, she said. Simply, Dr. Harrison nodded. But seeing him like this, so engaged and happy, reminds me why we made the move. He needs normal friendships, regular kid experiences. He watched Tyler attempt to recreate Sophia's rainbow, his tongue poking out in concentration. Maybe we could arrange another playdate sometime. Somewhere more traditional than a medical emergency. Maya found herself smiling despite her caution. I think Sophia would like that very much. As the afternoon wound down, Tyler carefully folded Sophia's rainbow drawing and tucked it into his jacket pocket. I'm going to put this on my bedroom wall, he announced solemnly. Right next to my window where I can see it every morning. Sophia beamed with pride. And you can practice making your own rainbows with the techniques I showed you. Dr. Harrison helped clean up their ice cream containers while Rebecca gathered her purse. Maya, he said, would it be all right if I gave you my card? In case you or Sophia ever need anything. And so we can arrange that playdate. Maya accepted the business card, noting the embossed logo and expensive cardstock. Dr. James Harrison, Chief Executive Officer, Harrison Medical Center. Below that, his personal cell phone number written in neat handwriting. Thank you, she said, tucking the card carefully into her wallet. For the ice cream and for letting Sophia share her art with Tyler. Thank you, Dr. Harrison replied, for giving us both something to smile about today. As they prepared to leave, Tyler surprised everyone by hugging Sophia goodbye, a gesture that seemed spontaneous and genuine, rather than prompted by adult expectations. Happy birthday, Sophia, he said seriously. I hope all your birthday wishes come true. Sophia hugged him back with equal sincerity. I hope your throat feels all better. And I hope you make lots of beautiful rainbows. Walking toward the bus stop, Sophia chattered excitedly about Tyler's artistic potential and his knowledge of color names. Maya listened with half her attention while the other half processed the unexpected turn their simple birthday celebration had taken. Dr. Harrison's business card felt substantial in her wallet, a tangible reminder that the afternoon hadn't been a dream. But Maya had learned not to place too much weight on promises made in emotional moments. Wealthy people often felt generous immediately after a crisis, but those feelings faded as normal life resumed. Still, she found herself hoping that Tyler would indeed hang Sophia's rainbow in his bedroom window, and that somewhere across the city, a little boy who'd almost choked on candy was falling asleep, feeling grateful for colored pencils and new friendships and the unexpected kindness of a 9-year-old artist who believed rainbows could heal anything. The bus ride home was peaceful. Sophia dozing against Maya's shoulder with her art supplies clutched protectively in her lap. Maya stared out the window at the city streets sliding past and allowed herself a moment of quiet satisfaction. Sophia's birthday had been saved. Tyler was safe, and for a few hours, they'd all inhabited a small bubble of connection that transcended the usual boundaries of circumstance and social class. Tomorrow would bring the return to routine, early shifts, tight budgets, the careful navigation of daily survival. But tonight, Maya thought, they could both fall asleep knowing that sometimes the most ordinary days could transform into something extraordinary, and sometimes helping a stranger could feel like coming home. 6 months after that first meeting at the mall, Maya stood in the employee break room of Harrison Medical Center, adjusting her new navy blue scrubs. the name tag on her chest read Maya Rodriguez, RN Pediatric Emergency Department. She still couldn't quite believe it was real. The scholarship program Dr. Harrison had quietly established had allowed her to complete her nursing degree through an accelerated program. No fanfare, no publicity, just a simple conversation over coffee where he'd mentioned that the hospital needed experienced nurses and wondered if she'd ever considered finishing her education. Ready for your first official shift? Rebecca Morrison appeared in the doorway, clipboard in hand. As the hospital's new director of community outreach, Rebecca had become Maya's unofficial mentor during the transition. As ready as I'll ever be, Maya replied, checking her watch. 7 a.m. sharp, the beginning of her new life. The pediatric emergency department buzzed with controlled activity. Maya had shadowed other nurses for 2 weeks, but today she was officially responsible for her own patients. Her first case was a 7-year-old with a suspected broken wrist, scared, crying, calling for his mother. "Hi there," Maya said gently, kneeling beside the examination table. "I'm Maya. What's your name?" "Connor," the boy sniffled. "My arm really hurts." "I know it does, Connor. But I'm going to help you feel better, okay? First, let me show you something special." Maya pulled out a small sketchpad and colored pencils, a trick she'd learned from watching Sophia comfort other children. "Can you draw me a picture of your favorite animal while we wait for the doctor?" Connor's tears slowed as he became absorbed in drawing a surprisingly detailed dinosaur. By the time the doctor arrived, he was explaining the difference between a T-Rex and a velociraptor instead of crying about his wrist. Dr. Sarah Chun, the attending physician, smiled as she approached. "Excellent work with Connor. Art therapy?" "Something like that," Maya replied. "Sometimes distraction is the best medicine." Her lunch break found Maya in the hospital's newly opened Story Garden, a bright, welcoming space on the 3rd floor where young patients could participate in art therapy, storytelling sessions, and educational programs. Sophia and Tyler were there for their weekly volunteer session, teaching other children the rainbow technique that had started everything. "Mama," Sophia waved from the corner where she was helping a little girl with cancer paint flowers. "Mrs. Patterson says my watercolor lessons are helping Emma remember happy things." Tyler looked up from the reading corner where he was narrating a picture book to 3 preschoolers. His confidence had grown tremendously over the past months, his natural leadership skills emerging through his volunteer work. "How's the first day going?" Dr. Harrison appeared beside Maya, holding 2 cups of coffee. "Better than I expected," Maya admitted. "It feels good to be using my training again. The kids in the ed are already talking about the nurse who carries art supplies," he said with a smile. "Connor's mother specifically requested that you handle his discharge instructions." Maya felt a warm glow of satisfaction. "He's a sweet kid. Brave too once he relaxed." They stood together watching Sophia and Tyler work with the other children. The partnership between the two had become legendary at the hospital. Sophia's intuitive understanding of emotion and color, combined with Tyler's technical knowledge and gentle teaching style, made them an incredible team. "I have something to tell you," Dr. Harrison said quietly. "The pediatric art therapy program Sophia and Tyler developed is being implemented in 5 other children's hospitals across the state. They're consulting on curriculum development." Maya stared at him in amazement. "They're 9 and 6 years old." "Age doesn't diminish innovation," he replied. "Their methods work. Children respond to peer teaching in ways that surprise even experienced therapists." That evening, Maya walked into their new apartment, a spacious 2-bedroom in a safe neighborhood with good schools. Sophia had her own art studio in the 2nd bedroom, complete with an easel, professional supplies, and walls covered with her collaborative works with Tyler. "Mama, look what Tyler and I finished today." Sophia burst through the front door, carrying a large canvas. It was a complex cityscape showing the hospital, the museum, the mall where they'd first met, all connected by rainbow bridges. "It's our story," Tyler explained, following behind her. "All the places that brought us together." Dr. Harrison entered carrying takeout bags from Sophia's favorite restaurant. These family dinners had become a weekly tradition, evolving naturally, from the friendship between the children into something deeper between the adults. "How did the board meeting go?" Maya asked as they unpacked containers of Thai food. "Unanimous approval for the expansion," James replied. The Rodriguez-Harrison Foundation for Pediatric Arts officially launches next month. Maya still felt overwhelmed when she heard their names linked together. The foundation had been James's idea, but he'd insisted on making Sophia and Maya equal partners in its development. It would fund art therapy programs, provide supplies to children's hospitals, and offer scholarships for young artists from low-income families. "Can we tell them about the surprise now?" Tyler asked excitedly. James laughed. "What surprise?" Sophia and Tyler exchanged glances. Then Tyler pulled out an official-looking envelope. "We got accepted. The Young Artists Residency Program in New York wants us for their summer session." Maya looked at James in confusion. "What's the Young Artists Residency Program?" "A very prestigious summer program for exceptional young talents," James explained. "Apparently, someone nominated Sophia and Tyler based on their collaborative work and their teaching methods." Sophia beamed. "We get to study with real artists for a whole month, and they want us to teach other kids our rainbow technique." Tyler nodded enthusiastically. "Plus, there's a showcase at the end where families can see all the projects." "Will you and Maya come to New York for the exhibition?" Maya felt tears prick her eyes. A year ago, she'd been scrubbing floors and counting quarters. Now her daughter was being invited to study in New York, and she had the means and support system to make it possible. "Of course we'll be there," James said firmly. "All of us together." Later that evening, after the children had fallen asleep, in Sophia's room surrounded by art supplies and planning notebooks for their summer program, Maya and James sat on the apartment's small balcony overlooking the city. "Do you ever wonder what would have happened if Tyler hadn't choked on that candy?" Maya asked. James considered the question seriously. "I think we would have found each other eventually. Sophia and Tyler were meant to be friends. And you." He paused, reaching for her hand. "You were meant to be in our lives." Maya squeezed his fingers. "A year ago, I was afraid Sophia and I would never have stability. Now she's thriving, I'm doing work I love, and we have a family we never expected." "Speaking of family," James said quietly, "I have one more surprise." He pulled out a small velvet box, and Maya's breath caught in her throat. "Maya Rodriguez," he said softly, "you saved my son's life, but more than that, you saved mine. You taught me that the most important connections happen when we stop trying to control everything and just open our hearts. Will you marry me?" Maya looked through the sliding glass door at Sophia and Tyler, both fast asleep with sketchpads still clutched in their hands. She thought about the journey that had brought them all together, the wrong seat, the right moment, the simple act of helping a stranger. "Yes," she whispered, and James slipped the ring onto her finger. 6 months later, they were married in the hospital story garden, surrounded by the children they'd helped heal through art, the colleagues who'd become family, and the community they'd built together. Sophia served as maid of honor while Tyler proudly walked James down the aisle. During the reception, Sophia and Tyler unveiled their wedding gift, a massive collaborative painting showing the moment Maya had performed CPR on Tyler, but rendered as a magical scene where a guardian angel breathed rainbows into a small prince, bringing him back to life. "It's the moment our family began," Sophia explained to the gathered guests. As Maya danced with her new husband while their children painted with wedding guests at easels set up around the garden, she reflected on how one moment of crisis had become the foundation for everything beautiful in their lives. Sometimes, she thought, the most profound changes begin with the simplest acts of kindness. And sometimes when you're brave enough to help a stranger, you discover that you're actually saving yourself. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hits the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.